All right, welcome back, folks, to the Geek Branch podcast. I'm your host, Dane. This is the Depths of Disorder, and due to my co-host and our lead producer informing me that my segments have been a little long, I'm going to try to keep it to 30 minutes, okay? Because I am the ranting type. So look, I've been here talking with my friends, as we always are wont to do over food, and one of the things that came up was, of course, the announcement from Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilms about Indiana 5. Indiana Jones 5, everybody should know who Indiana Jones is. This is going to be Harrison Ford reprising the role because it's not a reboot.
Yes,
not saying
because a lot of people were thinking that it would end up being Chris Pratt.
Which we would all be okay with because Jurassic Park made Chris Pratt pretty good at the white shirt
world.
But world, yes. Yeah. I mean, Jurassic Park referring to the series, but yes, yeah. Jurassic World, Lost Kingdom, whatever the hell the thing.
The two movies he was in.
Right.
Yeah, he's going to do a third one.
Yeah.
My point being is that the series has made Chris Pratt pretty significant as
the action star
white
guy.
shirt adventurer. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is traditional.
Yeah.
White button shirt tends to be what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
But anywho, so what we're looking at though is instead of that, we're going to be getting Harrison Ford reprising the role at I think 79 because the script hasn't been written yet. So
he'll be near 80 by the time they're
actually
filming it.
Yeah, setting things up and getting into production.
Yeah.
So already we've had this happen before where we waited 19 years between Crusaders, I think, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It was 19-year gap. Yeah. The third movie and the fourth movie was a 19-year gap.
Yeah.
And while a lot of people say it was bad, it's actually not as bad as you think.
It's okay. It's the
really,
ending that upsets a lot of people.
Right. Temple and Crystal are like an 8 and a 6. You know what I'm saying? While the other two are 10s, Raiders and Last Crusade.
I mean, one of them had Sir Sean Connery. I mean, come on.
Yes, as Jones Sr. Excuse me. Yep. But and that father-son dynamic was really unique as opposed to like the sidekick dynamic that we got with Shia LaBeouf.
Yes.
So obviously the problem here isn't that there's an Indiana Jones 5, even though we're approaching Terminator levels where I'm like, enough is enough, stop, kill the series. But it's coming because Hollywood can't do anything else, so we just have to grit and bear it. But now we have to look about what
Disney's got to at least get one out of their $1 billion
buy out of Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
They should have just rebooted it. But listen, and they should have like done Tom Hardy or Chris Pratt as the new
villain.
Jones.
They could have just said that those guys are who Shia LaBeouf played as
his son.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Just recast him.
Henry Jones,
I think.
Yeah. A lot of people liked Henry, actually. So
a
lot of people liked Henry. Look,
Harrison did not like the guy who played as Henry. He did not like Shia LaBeouf.
That's fine.
Y'all should watch some of his old videos.
But you got to recall that like that movie was pretty comedic because it played heavily on the fact that he was old. They were self-aware.
Yes.
And so
and it was in the 50s.
And so they made it so that it wasn't what we always dreaded, which is if you bring an action hero back at too advanced of an age without using guns, the movie won't look right. That's the reason why Rambo 5 works, by the way, because it doesn't matter how old Sly is. If you hand him a freaking massive rifle, the action scene can be completed without stressing the old man out.
Right.
They could do speaking of Sean Connery, they could do, which was his last live action movie, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where not saying that he should do League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but saying he's like the mentor character.
But that's what I'm dreading, but we'll get there in a second. But what I'm saying is that okay, so we've had a lot of 5s have come out, which 5 being the 5th movie of the long-running series, where we've had to place certain actors in very specific roles. And there are 3 roles that are left for actors that are in their late 70s going into their 80s that can be played correctly.
Grumpy old men.
Well, we'll get there in just a second, but you're the grumpy mentor.
Yeah.
We've seen 2 instances of it. You've already brought up League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
And then we saw Luke Skywalker, unfortunately,
yeah,
for Star Wars.
Although a lot of people hated on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I really enjoyed that movie.
That was a really good movie to me too.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, once again, like the rating is going to be low, but it's a better movie than people complained about. Yeah. It's not a 4, it's a 6.
Yeah, that's
Same
fair.
thing for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's not that bad. There's something to be enjoyed there.
Yeah.
My point being is that so there's the Grappy Mentor role, then there's the Killing Machine, which is exactly what you get for Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly.
Yeah, you'll never get that out of Harrison Ford
Because that's not the type of character Indiana Jones was to begin with.
No.
But Rambo is literally a Terminator. And
every time.
yeah, right. So he's going to pick up a gun and it's just going to mow down 50,000 people. And then last but not least, you get like the strength of age, which is what I hope we get for Indiana.
What, using his wisdom?
Well, yes, because the perfect example of it is basically like Dirty Harry 5, which is actually not something that exists, but Gran Torino.
Yeah, I love that movie.
When you get Clint Eastwood at 78,
where you bring him in to a situation,
and his wisdom, his strength of character, that experience of 70-something years of being a badass is what carries him through a movie.
What old dude did I just screw with?
Right. It's also almost the same thing as Taken.
Yeah.
Where it's
with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, it's the strength of age. So that's what I'm hoping they click, because the Grumpy Mentor isn't going to work.
Because he kind of already did that with the last one.
With Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls.
Yeah,
and we didn't like it.
Because it was supposed to be a movie of handing the torch down to his son, essentially.
Right, and then we saw what happened there, where immediately, like when Shia LaBeouf's character sits in and talks to him the first time, he's like, "Oh, what do you do? You're a teacher? Oh, that's going to be useful." We remember that line, and we just knew for a fact that no, we're not going to allow Harrison to be a mentor character because the kid he's mentoring is a little shit.
Yeah, right.
Well, literally, to Harrison Ford, to him, that kid was.
Yeah, so that's off the picture. So we can't do the Grandpa Mentor.
Yeah, because he ain't coming back to the next movie.
Yeah,
probably won't even be mentioned.
Gone.
Yeah. Which I'm sure does not hurt his feelings.
Right. There'd be some reference to him also being a teacher somewhere. They should toss it in, obviously.
No, they should. Harrison will probably suggest
because they're not rebooting.
He's dead,
but they're not rebooting, and killing Indiana Jones' son sucks. So
I know, but they'll probably do something like he's a trash. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Just something to dismiss him, but he should be mentioned. My point being is, so he can't do the Grumpy Mentor. He can't do the Terminator.
Yep.
So
the most logical is the third option.
Right. Or the strength of wisdom or the strength of age. So I'm okay with that. The problem is that Lucasfilms can't do that. They can't Gran Torino.
Right. They would need someone like Clint Eastwood to direct it.
Right, and they're not gonna ever pick a strong director.
They'll probably try to convince Steven Spielberg to come back,
which would be great, and he would be a strong director. But could you imagine that Spielberg at his current age and Kathleen Kennedy at her current disposition could work together again?
No,
that's my point. So they're going to obviously pick someone else.
Fire her and then make the movie.
No, she won a BAFTA, so now we can't fire her. But anyway. So listen.
She win something for? Please tell me it wasn't what I think it was.
It was Star Wars, obviously.
Yeah, she won something for Star Wars.
She shot Star Wars in the kneecap, and then she got a BAFTA for it.
Well, she did help make the Indiana Jones movies. I give her credit there.
Right. So obviously, this is the reason why this is coming around. That's the reason why she announced it.
Because she's the one that helped make it become what it is.
Yeah. But now the adventure is going to be female rather than the Force.
That's what I fully expect it to be, like a copycat of Han Solo and Rey.
Right, where he's going to get another kid to mentor. They're going to put him in the Grumpy Mentor role, just like they did with Luke, and he's going to be running around with basically
his daughter.
Laura Croft is what I'm expecting.
Yeah. Like he's going to find out he has a daughter now with one of his other love interests.
Right, because he's had
the same one.
No, he's had two.
Yeah, he's had two. But
Temple of Doom love interest, and then
no, but I'm saying that it could be the same parent, like the same love interest that Shia LaBeouf
did for Henry.
Yeah, it should be. It could be the same mom.
Sure, it could be separate. I would prefer it to be separate.
I would prefer it to be neither and not be that story. But yeah,
well, whatever. Yeah, obviously. But yeah, we're going to get Laura Croft. Now the problem is that they're the two titular adventurers. Laura Croft and Indiana Jones are 1 and 2, and I do not ever want to put them together. I would never want a crossover because they're very different. They should
cast for it.
Who?
Daisy Ridley.
No. I think everyone from Star Wars is gone. I really do think so. I think everyone from Star Wars
is done with Lucas.
Is done with Lucasfilms. None of the new generation is going to come back. The old generation has no choice. Obviously.
Well, we know the guy who played as Finn is pretty well done with them.
Yeah, and I also expect the same thing.
John Boyega.
Yeah, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Daisy Ridley. I think they're all going to be
Bye. See you. Deuces.
No.
Can't blame him.
At most, the only person who would probably ever make it back is Adam Driver, and he's not going to be there for anything Star Wars related.
No,
Right.
I could see him trying to coming in for like Indiana Jones as
Yeah.
a villain.
Yeah, he would. I don't know. Well, it's gonna get weird. My point being, yeah.
Come on, they're trying to keep it in the family.
I know. But what's going to happen here is that obviously Harrison Ford is going to get roped into something. Hopefully, they remain just as campy. Hopefully, it's something with the U.S. government because they always try to tap him as a resource.
What would it be? The 70s this time?
Probably would be where I would put it because in the 50s he was already like
60s.
60. So if we move it forward a decade, which is reasonable, move it forward another decade, 70s or 80s has to be somewhere where it has to be. And
I don't want anywhere past 80s.
Yeah, obviously it makes no sense. At that point, he's geriatric.
Yeah.
Like he's older than the person playing him. So that's weird.
I think 70s should be the answer. Just go up 2 decades.
Right. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I can accept that. They, obviously, because of his advanced age, we're going to have to tone back his role because it's an action adventure series, occasionally sci-fi, as with Crystal Skull, but it's action adventure. And so we need to, of course, now make the immediate decision to determine whether or not it's going to have a lot of action. And if it has to have a lot of action, unlike Gran Torino, which, like I said, they're not going to be able to do a Gran Torino, which would be the smart thing to do, they're going to have to cast an action star.
Right.
And because it's Kathleen Kennedy in current day Lucasfilm, it has to be a woman. So we already know like 35% of the movie. Just we have the bones
These
of
are
the
our
movie.
assumptions.
Yeah, I'm
These
just
are our
saying.
assumptions. I mean, they could surprise us and give us something we want.
But based off everything that we've experienced in the last 6 years.
Well, I guess somebody told her not to touch the Mandalorian because it exceeded expectations.
Well, she wasn't even a part of that.
Yeah, I don't think she
wasn't
at all.
No,
I mean, she's
remember
the president of Lucas.
Yeah, no, but she had nothing to do with the Mandalorian at all. She's particularly focused on films. She never did anything for the TV series.
So Bob Iger found another loophole.
Yeah, she's only ever touched films. She's
that
never touched
slick
anything.
silver fox.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that guy knows how to get around these crappy people he's stuck with when he buys their
he's
companies.
also responsible, though. Bob Iger is the one that said, "Okay, we'll let this happen, Lucas." And I'm like,
I know.
Yeah, like I blame
he
Bob
probably
Iger for most of
He
this.
probably trusted her because she had been working for George for years.
And
he never expected it.
Just like George trusted her.
Yeah.
And then she became a freaking raving political lunatic.
Yeah.
So we can't expect anything different out of Indiana Jones. And so I'm very disappointed already. And I would have preferred the series never got this reboot, but here we are.
Not a reboot.
I mean, not a reboot. Sorry,
Continuation.
Continuation.
Yeah.
I would have preferred a reboot, which is the reason why that came out incorrectly.
They could go and not. They could subvert your expectations, and instead of getting a woman, they'll get a POC, person of color. Yeah. And they bring back the kid from what was it, Raiders?
No, Temple.
The
little Vietnamese kid.
Yeah. Bring him back.
At like age 40,
Yeah.
regardless. Like the Vietnamese kid actually would be a pretty cool pick.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a subversion of my expectations, yes. That the person that he actually passed
like he actually grows up to be like him.
Yeah,
because he inspired him.
He's been doing things in that part of the world, like Asia, India, China. Yeah.
And he runs into a situation where he has no choice but to pull upon
the person who inspired him, and that would be already a much better movie than what we've just discussed.
Yeah.
So like,
and it still would be a mentor movie, but it would be a much more reasonable and much more enjoyable one.
Right. So I could totally see that being something I could sit back and pay.
I can't remember that kid's name. I'm sorry. I know it's a
been
very enjoyable name.
Long. It's been way too long.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They might not go that route because I think it was a little
touchy at the time.
Yeah.
But that kid did great.
Yeah.
That kid, that child actor was really probably one of the best of the era.
He was very inspiring to Asian kids of that decade for sure. Like I've heard them talk about that.
Yeah. Also, he was really unexpected. Like I can imagine at that time that no one expected that if they were going to cast a kid for the Indiana Jones movies. And by the way, that was also the darkest Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
It's because Lucas was going through a divorce. He was in a dark place, so that movie was really dark.
A lot of people really forget that that Indiana Jones is made by George Lucas.
Oh yeah. Just like it's Steven Spielberg directing, Williams on the music, and Lucas as the writer.
Yeah, and so many people forget that though because they're just like Star Wars.
Yeah. But that's why we kept saying Lucasfilm 15,000 times.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, do you be surprised how many people even it just doesn't register to them because it just doesn't seem like
The click. But the reason why Lucas wanted to make it was because he was a big fan of the serials that he watched as a kid, and he wanted to bring back a part of that for every one of the.
Star Wars was inspired by actually westerns.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's like contemporizing and then redubbing the things of his childhood, which is
he
a
did that
beautiful
with
thing.
what was that movie that he did with the kid from Andy Griffith and Happy Days?
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about there.
Yeah, most people
American Graffiti.
Yeah, most people don't remember.
I'm sorry.
Of Lucas. No, what I'm saying, most of Lucas's filmography.
Right.
Most people don't remember
because of American Graffiti. That's why Ron Howard ended up directing Solo.
Yes.
He became close friends with George Lucas over the years.
But so yeah. Now, I personally don't have high expectations. Star Wars has done that to me, and it has mostly done that to most of the people out here currently watching.
Yep.
But Harrison Ford seems excited in the same way that a certain Mark Hamill was excited. So
that poor man.
It's Indiana Jones has always been the role that Harrison has actually enjoyed.
Well, it's also Harrison's best role.
Yes,
because it's him.
And he knows that.
It's him being heroic as opposed to him being a scoundrel.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him as Han Solo, but he prefers Indiana Jones.
Because that was
his hero role.
The role that they made for him.
And it was also a PG-13. Well, sorry, it was a PG role, and it became a PG-13 role. But it's something that was charming.
Yeah,
it really did flow very well. It made him very heroic.
It was like another romancing of the stone, film of those days.
And for him, I imagine that Chris Pratt currently feels the same way that Indiana Jones felt when he first got into.
What you mean? No, he loves Star-Lord.
No. Okay, so what happened with Chris Pratt when Chris Pratt got to be whatever the name his character is from Jurassic Park, and he got to be Star-Lord? The joy and fulfillment that Chris Pratt got from having to act in those two roles, I imagine that's the exact same joy and fulfillment that Harrison Ford got out of being Han. I was about to call him Han, yes, but Harrison Ford got out of being Indiana Jones.
Right.
I imagine it's the exact same one for one.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason why we all want Chris Pratt, by the way.
Because he seems like the perfect choice to
the spiritual successor to Harrison Ford.
And it doesn't even have to be the same
character.
Same Jones. It can be a Jones that's like his grandkid or something.
Right. And we would be very happy just to see.
That's it set in modern time.
Yeah, because obviously some of the best things about Indiana Jones 3 was the fact that it was comedic, that it had much more comedy.
They could literally turn this into the American JoJo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There really would have been one for one.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to really bring up about the matter. It's obviously something that can be discussed in 5 minutes, but we're just talking about it because we love it so much. This is, our geek culture. So thank you for sitting through it with us. I really do appreciate you diving into the depths with me. I've been your host, Dane. These have been my co-hosts, Tim and Alex, and we will catch you on the flip.